Well, if you spent any amount of time in a doctor's office, you're all too familiar with the routine of having to repeatedly write down your medical history. The Trump administration wants to replace all of that writing with modern technology. CBN medical reporter Lori Johnson explains the reasons for the move and how it raises concerns about privacy.
President Trump, along with HHS Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. and Dr. Oz, Administrator for Medicare and Medicaid, touted the plan to simplify sharing health information with any doctor or pharmacy.
Today, the dream of easily transportable electronic medical records finally becomes a reality.
As part of the Making Health Technology Great Again, they appeared alongside CEOs of top tech firms like Google, Amazon, Apple, and OpenAI.
Instead of filling out the same tedious paperwork at every medical appointment, patients will simply be able to grant their doctors access to their records at the push of a button. Just a button and you're all set, and all the information the doctor needs will be immediately transmitted.
Smartphone apps store your complete health history, which would be instantly shared by scanning a QR code.
And it shows your height, your weight, your blood type, your BMI, your cardiac markers, your diabetes markers, your cholesterol, and any kind of individualized treatments they can.
Those in the medical field agree it's time for an upgrade to America's outdated health information sharing system.
I don't always have information from a recent hospital visit. If a patient goes to the emergency room, they may not be able to get care started as soon because the providers don't know what they're taking if maybe you come in and you're not conscious. So there are things that we would love to fix.
While these apps would involve voluntary participation from both patients and providers, they would not be linked to any government database. In addition to storing our health information, the apps would take it a step further by using AI to interpret the data and offer personalized advice about diet, medications, exercise, and more. Ideally, the apps would lead to improved health, especially for people with diabetes or obesity.
The key is the unlocking of the data, because the more data that AI has, the better it performs.
While this tech sounds good, privacy concerns abound because it's unclear whether security can be guaranteed, something very important when it comes to your personal, sensitive health information.
If this system were to share doctor's notes and you had a certain medication or you had a diagnosis that was more private to you, or you had clinical notes that the doctor had written that would reveal information about your progress, those would be things that most of us wouldn't just be sharing just all over the place.
Worries include insurance companies possibly discovering information and using it to increase your rate or even cancel a policy. So while most Americans would love to ditch the clipboard, privacy concerns could be a deal breaker. Lori Johnson, CBN News.
It's a balance, Gordon, between the streamlining of these written documents and our information and the convenience against those privacy concerns.
It is a balance, and it also is a balance having to do with your care. But don't assume that a doctor treating you has knowledge of your medical history. I had to learn the hard way in hospital visits with my parents that they didn't have that. They weren't familiar with the entire history, and I found myself having to recite it to them again and again because I had the medical power of attorney and had control over those decisions. On one hand, it would certainly be a lot easier, and if you can imagine an emergency room visit where you're not conscious and your medical history could disclose whatever medications you're on. Those are critical in certain instances. If you're on a blood thinner and you have a stroke, there's some very serious complications if you take stroke medication. So it's a balancing, and I think ultimately it should be up to the individual patient what they want to disclose or what they want to keep private. Right now, you don't have that option. everything seems to be siloed and not communicated, in fact, illegal to communicate. But wouldn't it be wonderful if you could pick and choose, well, I don't want the doctor notes disclosed, or I don't want this particular thing disclosed, but these other things, if it helps my care, why not leave it to the patient to make those decisions? And that way it all becomes a whole lot easier when you're filling out those